Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. My Lord, the Chief Justice of South Africa, Justice Mohamed Mohamed, Honorable Minister of Justice, Masuta, who just left us a few minutes ago, Honorable Dustin Mulambo, Judge President of the Gauteng Division of the High Court of South Africa, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to be here on behalf of United Nations Development Programme and the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime. I would like to thank the government of South Africa and Legal Aid South Africa for taking the lead in organizing this important and timely conference. The UN system, particularly UNDP, and the United Nations Office on Crime and Drugs, are grateful for the opportunity to partner with South Africa, the International Legal Foundation, the Open Society Initiative, as well as the Universities of Pretoria and Witwatersrand, to bring together these esteemed guests from all over the world to actually deliberate and talk on legal aid. This is a good sign of partnership, which is for us the way of the future. We need to develop more partnerships now than ever before if we are to achieve our development goals, including goals in the rule of law and access to justice. This conference for us heralds a new era in terms of the new principles and guidelines on legal aid, which is a landmark document that was adopted by the UN General Assembly in December 2012. It outlines for the first time internationally agreed guidance on legal aid systems. For UNDP and the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, these guidelines are the foundation for promoting access to legal aid in criminal cases and are also helpful in setting standards for legal aid in civil matters. South Africa was a key sponsor of these new standards during their formulation through the United Nations Commission on Crime Prevention and Criminal Justice. This country holds the most renowned legal aid system on the continent and beyond. As we have heard from the Honorable Minister of Justice of South Africa and other speakers who have spoken earlier, South Africa has an exemplary mixed model system comprising its innovation of justice centers and the use of paralegals and university legal clinics that are complemented by partnerships with private and pro bono lawyers, all of which together help ensure access to legal aid services in criminal cases, and increasingly also for the poor in civil and family matters. In 2012 and 2013, for example, Legal Aid South Africa assisted close to 500,000 accused persons on criminal cases, and their support for civil matters has increased by 75% over the last 2 years. In the African region, there has been significant progress in strengthening access to legal aid services, despite continuing challenges in providing basic services. In many countries, such as Malawi, Uganda, and Zambia, where there are very few lawyers available, community-based paralegals and university legal aid clinics have been instrumental in facilitating access to justice for many in rural and remote areas. In other countries going through transitions in the region, for example, Rwanda and Sierra Leone, emerging out of phases of conflict or political upheaval, access to justice and legal aid services has been critical to securing justice, remedies, and achieving redress for past abuses. For many women and girls, access to comprehensive legal aid services is critical to hold accountable perpetrators of sexual and gender-based violence, to secure their land and inheritance rights, and also to ensure that they are able to secure equal rights under family laws for themselves and their children. The United Nations Development System works to strengthen legal aid service delivery for criminal, civil, and family matters as a way of fighting poverty, inequality, and deprivation. Making available and accessible quality legal aid contributes to preventing human rights abuses and to strengthening institutions of justice that peacefully and effectively address disputes and crime in societies. Our work within the United Nations system builds on many years of experience, particularly here in Africa and globally, on promoting access to justice, legal empowerment, and the rule of law. Let me just mention two of examples of some of our work in this area. In 2013, for example, UNDP supported 55 countries worldwide in strengthening access to legal aid services for poor and marginalized groups. In Africa alone, UNDP supports 14 countries in legal awareness activities, such as legal awareness clinics and public outreach campaigns. And also, we have supported 17 countries on enhancing access to legal aid through capacity building of state and non-state actors. Another example of our work is what we have done at the country level to actually look at our regional service center in Africa, which is based in Addis Ababa, and our work with the African Union Commission to develop continental guidelines on the use and conditions of police custody and pre-trial detention in Africa. These guidelines, which were adopted in May this year, set the continental agenda for acceptable pre-trial justice practice, including provision of legal aid, and will be piloted through implementation in 5 African countries. Our sister agency, the United Nations Office on Crime and Drugs, has also focused its support on the provision of legal aid to victims of crime as an important component of the services provided to them, such as victims of violence against women and trafficking. UNODC also supports initiatives such as legal aid for drug users and persons living with HIV/AIDS in prisons as part of their rehabilitation. I would like to end by noting that the discussions here are also relevant to the wider global discourse on sustainable development and the new development framework that are currently being negotiated for post-2015. The new set of development goals that many states are currently arguing over right now, and that will form the basis of intergovernmental negotiations at the level of the United Nations General Assembly, are currently looking for ways to identify targets and goals that can help to have capable institutions and rule of law, including an equal access to legal aid. Being able to measure progress on legal aid service delivery is critical to demonstrating overall achievement of rule of law, access to justice, and governance. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, this conference provides a forum for technical discussions over the type and structures of delivery of legal aid services that we want to see in different countries. But it should also help us inform wider policy priorities on justice and rule of law. The results of this conference can also help inform increased provision of legal aid, particularly for the issues that matter to the poorest and most marginalized, such as in family matters and in access to land, to health, to education, and other services. I encourage you all to root your discussions in the realities that people in Africa and around the world face every day, in seeking to secure their livelihoods, in seeking to protect themselves and their families from discrimination and abuse, and to seek out better opportunities for themselves and their children. Of crucial importance is that as we share lessons and strategies from different experiences, from different countries, from different backgrounds, from different regions of the world, we should also identify what priority actions we can actually reach, so that at the end of the day, we'll be able to enhance government policy and programming on legal aid at the community, local, and national levels for different kinds of people around the world. Thank you, and I wish you more success in your deliberations.